we will have three space to show you how we can deliver a landscape project in this three phase. And let's come to our first scenario, the initial project meeting. And let's start. Good morning, everyone. I'm the landscape architect. I'm the landscape architect, Ms. Zhang, for this project. This is our clerk of work, Ms. Wang, who will ensure that the construction is coordinated with the general particular specification. This is our site agent, Mr. ZHOU, who will be responsible for coordinating the activities on the site. And we have two subcontractors, Ms. Qiu for soft landscaping and Ms. Xu for facade specialist. And let's have our kickoff meeting here in the conference room. And please make sure you follow the general particular specialist schedule of rates and bill of quantities, and use these rate specifications as guide. They are crucial to the function of the final product.
As we mentioned the three words, I'll explain it. The subcontractors then hand in their material submission and random statement to the landscape architecture and explain how they will do their work. BPR is a detailed document in the field of landscape engineering that provides a comprehensive list of all materials and labor, equipment and services required for a specific project. They break down the project into measurable units and specific quantities and specification of each item. ISOR is the document used in landscape engineering projects that provide a list of predetermined rates for various construction activities or services. It outlines the unit cost associated with specific tasks, such as excavation, concrete work, installation of fixtures, and other relevant activities.
And I'm the constructor for the soft landscaping. We will choose the plan carefully, and we will follow this general and the particular special specification. And during the whole project, we will irrigation the plants, follow the schedule, and maintain this during the whole project.
As for the facade specialist, we'll be installing a custom-made facade that is both aesthetic, pleasing, and functional. We will ensure that it complies with general and particular specifications and regulations. And this is our material specifications.
Okay, thank you for your method statement and material submissions. They will be approved now. And let's talk about another issue. Please note that the time of possession is strictly observed. Any delay can result in penalties. And also, I hope the main contractor has bought insurance for you, because any damage will be during the construction will be covered. And lastly, please be mindful for the effect of surety bond, since it can affect the project progress. We will. Scenario 1 is laid out, and we will come to our quiz section.
Which of the following is now the duty of the site agent? A is quality control, B is contractor representation, C is subcontractor management, and for the site design. So maybe the answer is on screen. Okay, let's go on the discussion statement. Phase 2 is about the cycles. The contractor in charge of the facade. We are going to have a progress meeting with the clerk on the progress of the project. Facade installation is complete for today. We had a team of 5 workers and 2 machines on site, and the progress is at 100%. I recorded everything in the site report.
Hold on, there's a marked structure here that will affect some work. So what happened, why the current situation is different from the original site drawings?
Seems to be a design-related problem. You need to submit a request for information to the landscape architect. He will give you a professional solution. Okay. I will help you to hand to the landscape architect. Come in, please. Here's the RIF. Thank you for bringing this to our attention. I will redraw the drawings to accommodate to the structure. This will result in a variation to the original plan. This is a redrawn plan and the structure.
Wow, the new plan is good. Thank you for your work and your cooperations. We appreciate your expertise and professionalism.
You're welcome. It's all part of our job to ensure that the project runs smoothly. Don't hesitate to let us know if you encounter any more issues. The second scenario is fade out, and we have 4 options for you to choose as our ending for our project. And we will show you.
We prepare one ending, open ending for the next scenario. So which of the following is the most desired option for the variation? The option A is proceed with the original planting plan. Option B is abandon the planting area to avoid actual cost. Option 3 is transform the planting area from shrubs to real grass. The real grass pile and more expensive than shrubs. Option D is transform the planting area from shrubs to artificial grass pile, which with complex specifications.
What can we scan?
We have
Yeah, we
use
Can you read the questions? Because they're too small to.
Okay.
So read them slowly, or can you make them bigger?
This one will be bigger. Yeah.
Which one? The phone instructor.
It's the answers I can't always read. Okay.
Oh.
No, it's not the question, it's the answers.
A is
Okay, we can see everyone has voted and yeah. Oh, my, there is one wrong answer.
Oh, that's not bad, because nobody knows what the site agent is yet.
So this is our leaderboard, and we will have a final leaderboard, and the winner will have one little gift. And this is our second question to choose for open ending for our project. And the first one is we will proceed with the original planting plan, and option B is we will abandon the planting area to avoid extra cost in the project. And the third option is transform the planting area from shrubs to real grass pile. And it will be more expensive than the original ones. And the option B is transform the planting area from shrubs to artificial grass tile.
I can't get this right.
This don't have a correct answer.
I can't get a correct answer.
Yeah,
I'd
yeah.
say they're all wrong. Is that the right answer?
There is no right answer. Yeah.
There is no right answer. You won't get a, but it's a variation, right? So it can't be
Yeah.
A, because that's not a variation.
Yeah.
It's just carry on with what you were doing, right? So there's no variation.
We will show this for situations in our following show.
So your questions are good questions.
Yeah.
I'm looking for the one that says change to this at no additional cost. So we're always looking for that phrase, no additional cost, because you'll have to do this a lot. There'll be a problem, you need to solve the problem. There'll be a change, but you don't want cost change. Yeah. So that's kind of the key phrase that we're always looking for. But B says abandon the planting area. So that means don't do any work, so the client won't be happy, right? Won't be happy. C, they won't be happy because it's more expensive. And D, they won't be happy because it's plastic grass. And you have a code of conduct to the environment not to ever put plastic grass down. Right?
So let's see how well the client
So yeah. So it's a good question. I like questions like that where there's no right answer. It's really mean. I'm going to give you lots of those questions in our quiz. Mean questions that no right answer.
Okay, now it's our show girl. It's the phase 3, and we will looking forward to how the 4 option going on, and it's the site instruction. And we have 4 optional ending SBC. So the option A is proceed with the original planting plan.
Hello everyone, I'm the client of this landscape construction program. How does this processing?
We have reached certificate of practical completion, certificate of practical completion refers to a stage of project where all works have been completed according to the contract requirements, allowing the client to take possession and beneficial use of the landscape area. At this point, the project is considered functionally complete, although minor defects or issues may still need to rectify during the defect liability period. Practical completion signifies that the main scope of work has been finished.
Unfortunately, the shrub in the thin soil have died out. It's a design flow from the landscape architect's decision. We will need extension of time, EOT, to rectify this. And the extension of time is landscape engineering refer a former request made by the contractor and or project team to the clients for additional time to complete the project beyond the contractually agreed time frame.
Okay, sectional completion for area A is complete. Sectional completion refers to the completion of a specific part of the project. It allows for the client to take possession of completed section and the contractor to receive payment for the portion of the work completed. Now let's dive into the defect liability period, DLP, and the establishment period. Establishment period, which EP. DLP refers to a set time frame, typically 6 months. During this time, the client with an assurance period where they can report any defects or issues and have them resolved by the contractor at no additional cost. And the EP is the duration for newly planted vegetation to become fully self-sufficient. Contractors maintain and care for the plants during this period until they reach maturity, after which maintenance responsibility usually shifts to the property owner or a hired team.
The delay stem.
It's unacceptable. Why the delay in area B? What happened?
The delay stem from unforeseen challenges. We'll address this with contingency and the variation order. Contingencies refer to the funds set aside for unforeseen expense or changes in the project. This fund acts as a buffer to cover unexpected costs that may arise during the course of the project, providing financial flexibility to address unplanned circumstances without disrupting the overall budget. A variation order is a formal document requesting a change to the original scope of work or contract. It outlines the proposed alteration, including any adjustment to cost, timeline, or specifications.
Opting for the original plan will get us forward. Let's ensure success in the upcoming phases.
Option A is picked up. Now we are looking forward to the option C. Then the planning areas along aspect is.
In this situation, practical completion is achieved for both A and B planting areas. Now we can enter the DLP and AP period now.
I heard that planting area B is an actual finish greening. Why the planting B now green? It's unacceptable. What are our options to rectify this issue? I need a solution.
Let's ask Chris.
We can utilize EOT payment certificates. contingencies and the variation order. To tackle the issue effectively, payment certificates are documents issued by the client or the contract administrator to authorize payments to the contractor for work completed as per the contract terms. These certificates outline the amounts due to the contractor based on the progress of the project and any applicable variations or adjustments.
Okay, should we push forward the original project despite the setback, or isn't whether abandon the area to prevent additional expenses? Okay, let's proceed with original planting plan. Our vision must be released even in the face of challenge.
Okay, who agree? So the option B is fit out, and let's do the option C.
Say the option C is transform the farm area from shrubs to real grass tile.
What's the update on the project? Are there any issues we need to address?
Practical completion is achieved for both planting area A and B, and we now enter the DLP and AP stages.
There's unfortunate news that need to be communicated. Some of the plants on the ground have died because maintenance worker opened the cover after the EP and removed some of the grass. The subcontractor responsible for a soft landscape submitted variation order to cover the extra expense of the grass tile. What do you suggest we do?
We can make use of the contingency funds to cover the additional expenses. This will ensure that we stay within budget.
This sounds like a reasonable project. Let's go ahead with it.
Okay, let's go.
And that's the end of the option C. And next one is option D. Transform the farming area from shrubs to artificial grass tile.
Good morning, everyone. What's on the agenda today?
Because of some of our accidents at the site, which result in the death of some plants. Therefore, I have been considering an idea to transform the planting area from shrub to artificial grass tiles. It could enhance the space and reduce maintenance needs. What are your thoughts?
I saw the potential benefits. As long as it doesn't compromise the overall aesthetics, I'm open to the change.
Your approval means loud.
Means everything.
We need to issue a variation to override the initial contract document.
I appreciate your proactive approach. Let's move forward with exciting transformation.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, this scenario is also fitted out, and we have another quiz question.
okay. Okay. Sorry.
Finished? Okay. So just to wrap up that, in all your presentations, and a couple of groups have done it, always finish your presentation with a summary. You know, what did we learn? You can do that quickly. So today, the three things we've learned about when you start up on site, there'll be a pre-contract meeting to organize the responsibilities, particularly how you communicate between the parties. Make sure that everyone's got the right documents, you know, just the kickoff and ask all the questions and make sure everyone knows what they're doing. That's quite important. Then the second thing is during the contract, you're going to have to deal with changes, right? Unforeseen events will happen. You're going to need to talk to the client, you're going to work with the contractor, you're going to try and find solutions. And sometimes those are not easy choices you make. Sometimes there isn't a happy solution, and there are compromises everyone has to make. But you're usually looking to do two things: not add any cost, no additional cost, and not add extension of time. This idea of extension of time. Why do we not want extension of time? Let's go back to my favorite analogy, which is my friend's house. All right. So, who wants to do the eyeball? I'm not going to ask you this time about your house, but it is your house, and somebody else is going to be in charge of her house that we bought. So, the point is, you've signed the contract to move in, you're going to be a tenant in her house, and you've agreed to move in on the first day of the month. But now we've got a problem, and she says, oh, you can't move in now, like your agreement, you've got to stay out for 2 more weeks. Is that good for you? No, it's not good for you. Your client has agreed to take over their property or move in on the date in the contract, right? So if it's a business, maybe they've got to move their whole business, maybe they're terminating leases, all sorts of arrangements. So even for you, it's not easy. Changing dates and times is really a bad thing. So we'll always be looking in the contract to avoid not only extra cost, but extension of time. Nobody wants delays. Government don't like delays, but you and I don't like delays. It's a pain. So extension of time is given under duress, really. So yes, of course, if there's a typhoon and nobody can work, you've got to give a day or 2 days back that was lost because the contractor can't do it. But sometimes the contractor will maybe go too slowly, and you need to say, hurry up, you're going to miss the deadline. You're not performing. So you want to move into her apartment, but you can see the contractor's in the coffee shop all the time, just drinking his sandwiches. So you're getting frustrated because she's saying, oh, we're going to be 2 weeks late. So is that fair that the contractor goes slowly? How do we get the contractor to perform with the contract, to get them finished on time? Any ideas? The word is here. I'm going to use your signs. Can I have the sound effect? Oh, it's not here. You put it. That's what I wanted. You put in there liquidated damages, didn't you? You haven't got a liquidated damages sign. Liquidated damages, maybe you can find a slide at least. Any idea what these are? Because it sounds kind of legal and a bit confusing, right? Liquidated damages. Well, we know what damages are. What are damages? What happens if what happens if he calls you something really nasty? You'll say, I'm going to sue you, you need to pay me compensation, right? These are, so you want damages against whatever it is that you've done. So, if the contractor doesn't perform and meet the requirement, the deadline, so you can move into her house as a tenant, you want some compensation for that delay. Right? So what we do is the contractor will be charged penalties every day they don't hand over on time. So this idea of time and cost. So there's two things. One, sometimes we're giving them extra days, extension of time. We'll say, okay, there was a typhoon, you can't work, have an extra day to finish. The other is, he's in the coffee shop when he should be working, then you need to take money off him. Sue him for delay of delivery. So we call that liquidated damages. Liquidated means to turn it into money, the damage into money. So every contract ends up in a fight usually between the contractor, who wants lots of extra time and lots of extra money for the variations, the changes you've made. Oh, because you've made their life so difficult, they had to hire extra work for this, and then cancel that, and then find a new one of this. So you as the architect have to choose whether their claim is justified. Is it reasonable what they're asking, or are they just trying to earn extra money? And usually it's a bit of both. And the contractors will all play a game, so maybe something's happened and you've made a change, a variation, and they turn around and say, okay, yeah, that'll take me 5 extra days on the contract, extension of time, and it's going to cost this much extra, a variation in cost. And then you think, hold on, wait a minute. No, if you change that round and did that, you could still get it done in the same time. And perhaps you don't even need any costs. So you have to understand how the contractor can do things to meet the time and cost. So you need to have that experience. Usually the contractor will say, I want 5 days and 5,000. You'll come back and say, I'll give you 1 day and 1,000. There's usually somewhere in the middle, because you've got to defend your client's rights and budget, right? You represent the client, usually. But at the same time, you have to be reasonable. The contractor can't do more work for nothing. So this is always an ongoing fight. Remember in day one, week 1, week 3, week 5, week 7, I keep saying 20% design, 80% administration. So if you're running a project on site, it's all administration. And to deliver your design, you've got to get it built on site, right? Which is 100%. Or let's say 99% administration. Maybe 1% designing, where you have to make a variation. And then you've got to design, as you nicely said, you've got to design it so there's no extra cost, because the client won't be very happy. Yes, you have contingency, which is a very good point. So normally in the budget, you'd have an extra little bit, but you don't really want to use that. That's only for emergencies. And if you cannot spend all the contingency money, we're happy. So again, there's nothing amazing about this. It's the same if we were going to go to Brad's birthday party in the Shangri-La Hotel, and it has to happen on the day, everybody's invited. If the Shangri-La turn round and say, sorry, you'll have to have it a day later, that doesn't work, right? There has to be some cost in that. So these are everyday realities. So you'd then try and find a way to have it on the right day and at the right cost. And it also means for the birthday party, Brad's budgeted 100. He's got actually 10 extra in his pocket just for emergency, contingency, but he doesn't really want to spend that extra 10. So ideally, if he's the client, you don't want to spend that 10 unless things happen. But unforeseen things do happen, and time needs to be given, and variations will happen. So this is your role on the site. So I think you explained that very clearly. And clear slides. Did you watch my videos on that? You didn't? Okay, because they're very similar to my videos, which is a free stage exactly like that. No, I'll post, so I've done some videos on this, I'll post them to you to try and make it really clear what happens in these. So when we, we can wrap up a whole kind of scenario now. Let's think 20%, 80%. What have we learned life as a professional? One, as you have a code of conduct as a landscape architect professional, and that's why I've come back to the artificial grass tiles as being an unsustainable, unethical product, and you shouldn't be promoting those to your clients, right? Because they actually don't match the code of conduct, week 2 of, or week 3 was it, of what you as a landscape architect need to be doing. You have a biodiversity and climate responsibility to sustainability. So no artificial grass, please. Unless you're doing a sports pitch where that is the product. So we've learned all about the responsibilities of that. We've learned, I keep saying, risk. Everything is risk. You're going to take a lot of burden. You could get sued. You could. Thank you. We talked here again about taking out insurance. You put up insurance, which you talk about in week 1. Everyone's always worried about risk. As a professional, you will take risk. So you need to understand what it is to be a landscape architect. If you're going into business or you're working in an office, you have to understand your boss carries that risk and they hold it for you. So you have to work within their operating structures. We've looked at all that administration in the second lesson. In the third lesson, we looked at what it would take if you were the boss. And there's always one young person in the room who says, I'm going to start my own company. Maybe it's not right now, but maybe it's soon. And again, there's risk, there's reward, there's all this business that you need to know about that's nothing to do with design. Running a business is not to do with design. Then we've looked at all those guidelines. We looked at 3 levels. We looked at statutory plans, we looked at the OZP, we looked at guidelines, we looked at all the different things that govern development and control. Again, there's no design, those are your knowledge background, the things that keep you on track. So we've been through that. Then we've looked at 4 different stages of work. So we went from, the first thing was organizing a project, so looking at how you're going to organize not just the design, but the whole thing, the drawings, the specifications, all these contract documents, how you're going to form a contract. We've looked at how you're going to package that, how you're going to tender that out, how you're going to get tenders back, what type of procurement you're going to do under different ways that contractors can work, different ways they can decorate your apartment, right? It's the same. There's lots of different ways. You're not expected to know how to do that. You are expected to just be aware that there are lots of different ways, and now you've got some idea about that. And finally, we've kind of wrapped up with how do you get your project built. Now, we've glossed over these in very simple form, but I just want you to have heard some of those words. Things like this are very helpful because there are key terms you'll hear in the profession, and if you don't hear them in profession, you'll hear them in your lives in business anyway. So you've had an overview. What we're going to do in the second half of this is start to talk to practitioners. We're going to go on site visits, we're going to go to office visits. There's a lot of the terminology you've talked about, when people are giving it to you, you'll have an idea what they're talking about in the office now. When they start talking about DLP, maybe you know what it is. When they talk about all the contract specification, maybe you'll know what it is. So you've got some background information on that. So don't worry if you didn't understand it all. It will take you time. And that's why I also say, you can imagine dealing with all these problems on site. You have to experience the problems and know how to work them out and build that experience. That's why I also said, if you can get a chance to be a site landscape architect, it's a really good way to learn everything as quickly as you can. If you want to go and do your professional practice as early as possible, I recommend going on site first, because it's the best way to learn. But all this content, you'll have to know it inside out, back to front, in your sleep to do your professional practice examination. That's why I say don't rush into it. It's complicated, it's hard. You need to absorb everything. It's not just learn it for an exam and then forget it. You need to know it thoroughly. So you've got it now. Thank you, an overview. Thank you. You're all released. You've got an overview of the profession, and I hope that these things will make more sense when we go to site. So all your work, other than